To me, I think of community development as like a matchmaker. So it's not about doing things for people, it's about sort of looking at a picture and making some assessments and just making connections for people. So there's no sense in me doing the work or doing things for people, just actually giving people skills and confidence to make changes and to do what they want for their communities.
We live in Vietnam. We always, when I grow up, and the family always stay in the center, business center. So when we come here, my sister say this one is very good location, people and more busier. And I have the good family to help me to build up the business. This one started for nothing, and we didn't know anything, but we have to learning and with my friend, my family helped me to do this.
I settled here when I was 8. Soon after that, we became part of a Sudanese community where they have people to help you with learning.
Becoming a foster carer or supporting young people in out-of-home care in that sort of way. It was always underlying something that I wanted to do. I can't just sit back and think, oh, someone should do that, or someone really should do those sort of things, or they need more people to help with this. People should do that. Well, if I'm not prepared to do it myself, how can I ask others and how can I expect any change?
The Voice of America, it's just where a few members of the community come together and just kind of voice an opinion. Just interviewing community leaders, students that are doing really well, or like who are aspiring to be something.
Like sometimes the staff was sick and no one can work, and only 1 or 2 people here, and I have to give them a ring, say come to give me a hand. Even with my mom, she still can come to help me as well. Even with my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law still come to give me a hand. I'm so happy with that. I'm so lucky.
My mother and I, we like to do a lot of stuff together. And she's also the person I go to for advice. She gives great advice, but anything you would ever want to know, because she obviously experienced a lot coming from a war-torn country. Going here, you become to know other people that have the same experiences or know the same family members. So it kind of goes a long way, and there's heaps of stuff in the community where it brings people together.
We're certainly not trailblazers, but again, to me, it becomes about community. There's a lot of different experiences, types of people, ages, relationship dynamics and norms within a community, and we want to contribute and reflect that as well in our role in supporting kids in out-of-home care. It's a very serious and a very important thing to do, but you do it in such a fun way. That's about creating experiences, it's about having fun. I get to use all my dad's dad jokes. I get all the eye rolls. But I get so much out of it too. And sometimes I feel like I'm getting more than I'm giving, just because I'm finding it such a positive experience. It certainly has its challenges, but everything does, and you forget about those really quickly.
So people say go to Brighton or go to Williamstown or somewhere. I wouldn't leave Yarraville. I can come down here and do my work from an office that's located in the middle of my village shopping centre. So it's not the sort of place anymore where you have to go into the office every day and be there to get your work done. It's much more flexible than that.
I've worked in this division, which is Maribyrnong, Hobsons Bay and Wyndham for the last 22 years. Since 2012, I've been the Family Violence Advisor. Yeah, I was a little bit taken aback, when I joined the Police Academy at 18, and I was a part of 4 squads of 100 people, and there was 4 girls. And initially, yeah, it was a little bit intimidating. I probably didn't really have the worries of the world back then, and I just sort of went with it.
We used to live in quite a busy road, in quite a busy suburb, and we thought we needed to live somewhere that was close to public transport but also close to the city and close to amenities. And we looked at houses, and there were new houses, and we thought, well, let's buy into here. So my role is Metro Access Project Officer. Basically, I work with the community to make sure that the community generally is accessible to people with disabilities. So I could be working with local businesses, I could be working with community health centres, I could be working with neighbourhood houses, or I could be working with individuals that are having problems accessing the community.
Had I have said 20 years ago when I started working I'd be doing ABC TV in the mornings talking about city shaping and national issues, I would have just laughed. But when I look back at it now, it sort of all fits together in a strange sort of jigsaw puzzly way, and I think that's one of the keys. I've always just said there's a door that I like the look of, so I'm going to walk through and see what's on the other side.
One phone call that I did receive, this lady was very distressed and was basically having a hell of a time. We had quite a long conversation, probably about 15-20 minutes, and she was quite anxious and quite upset, and I was trying to let her know of the things that she could access in the community and groups and activities and things. She basically was answering me like, well, how would you know? She didn't say that, but I could tell from her tone of voice. And in the end I said to her, look, I don't normally tell people this, but I have a disability myself, so I know and I understand where you're coming from. And after I kind of explained that to her, her attitude totally changed, and she understood that I understood the barriers that she was facing. So it was kind of a good moment for both of us.
Obviously there's lots of young constables and senior constables that are females. If they need support within the job, you know, we're there for them, absolutely. I've been doing it for 30 years. I've raised a family. I'm part of the community in Maribyrnong because I live in this area. I've developed relationships with the external stakeholders. They see me as somebody that they can call, and having new people in roles constantly can cause a bit of confusion. Hopefully I've got a bit of skill, you know, hopefully I've developed a bit of expertise over the years. At the end of the day, there needs to be female managers.
Probably a couple of generations away, conversations that we just don't have anymore, that say what's it like being a woman on a board? That won't be an issue anymore because it will be the norm to have several women on boards. We as females that are there need to show that whether you wear jeans or a dress or high heels or flats or whatever it is, it's okay to go in and to be yourself in these situations, and that role modelling and getting more women there is incredibly important. We're all links in a chain. No one person is going to get us all the way, so chip away as much as you can and then clear the path and encourage the next group of women to come through. And like I said, it's coming and we're coming quickly, so look out guys.
It's a special place for the custodians of the land here. You know, you've got the two tribes, the Wurundjeri and Maribyrnong tribes. You know, it's so quiet. It just gives you that peace. You know, you just have this peace, and a lot of our elders are busy people, and you know, they've been traumatized. Some of them have been part of the stolen generation. So, you know, being able to come here and really relax and then tell their stories. You know, and do the art and just sit by the river and remember things.
I'm free here to be an artist, small a or big A, be an emerging artist and be part of an arts tribe that doesn't judge in any way whether I make money or have a reputation or do the marketing right. I am an artist.
I had a brain injury from a car accident when I was 29, and it totally, you know, changed my life, changed who I was, changed my abilities. I had to relearn how to do a lot of things and find out who I was. And I remember really early on, what I could see was just really interesting. I'd be going, look at the colour of that, and look at the way that shape, that building goes round the corner. And so I started trying to learn to draw, which I wasn't very good at. and because I'd never done it before. But I was also trying to recover and live with this brain injury, which involved a lot of fatigue and pain. And probably wasn't until about 7 or 8 years after my accident that I really was able to start really focusing on being a visual artist.
The work that I did at Braybrook was part of reconciliation. It was reconciliation. It was a celebration, and the work there was done by the art group, the elders art group, and their input about what they would like for reconciliation. And we had people from all over Australia really part of that painting. And it was, like I said, it was a peace offering to say, here, you know, let's do this together.
I like to think of myself as protecting the bricks and the bluestone by helping them and putting a layer of recycled paper with flour glue there. And surprisingly, if that single layer of even newspaper glued on is tagged over, the tagging paint does not penetrate. So I'd love to be able to paste up all over Footscray. Really, I'm not going to be able to do that. I do occasionally get out there.
Art was always part of us, and that was with singing and dancing. You know, it was always telling the story that you can tell on a painting. So my art is about passing on knowledge, passing on stories, and a celebration of our culture and who I am as a person.
I think a big part of me becoming an artist actually owes a great debt to Marine, which is the Maribyrnong River Edge Arts Movement, which used to have its studios on the banks of the Maribyrnong River, right near the Footscray Community Arts Centre, and they're one of Melbourne's oldest arts organisations. So they were just a group of studios, and they welcomed me in and encouraged me, and I got to show my work every now and then. Just meeting a like-minded group of people was really important. One of the ways that I manage my chronic pain is to do handstands. So I've been doing a handstand every day for 12 years. And so I have this crazy ritual, this crazy practice that I do, and I thought, well, I'd better make some art about it.
I have fought all my life openly for equality and equity for women. And I don't resolve from that and never will. And we've got a long way to go. I think the new generation of women are wonderful. So I have a daughter who's in her 40s. She absolutely accepts what I never even knew when I was in my 20s, that women are there, women can be there. You know, just bugger off if you think anything else. There are mixed messages for women and about women that really need to be sorted, and I expect you as a new generation to do it.
My brothers play for a local football team, and I started off being the boundary umpire. When they didn't have enough players, that's when I was allowed to play, so I got to fill in, and I was probably about 8 years old when I was able to pull on the jumper and actually get around, run out and get a kick, so yeah, it was good fun.
When I was still living overseas, I heard about the women's circus in Melbourne. I always liked doing things and using my body, so I thought maybe, and I was coming from my artistic background as well, so it looked like a combination. Always liked ropes and tying knots as a kid and climbing the trees.
I was working in media and started just doing boxing fitness classes, and I was walking along the river. It was very sort of cinematic, you know, walking along the river on my way to work, and just out of the corner of my eye I saw this woman showing another woman how to box. And it turned out that she was a world champion kickboxer plus a competitive professional boxer. So it's sort of like, oh, actually, it's a possibility to do it. When I started, people were still saying, oh, should women be allowed to box? Can you imagine people saying, should, you know, women be allowed to do something? It's kind of like, it was just incredible. And the anxiety about breasts and, you know, concern about health and safety and chivalry, supposedly, about protecting women was sort of overplayed so much.
I knew that it was different for girls to play those sports, but I was pretty determined not to worry about it too much because I loved playing them. It's really great to see that young girls now have those opportunities that we once didn't have.
Coming into a community like this was just amazing. It just became, the circle of people you knew came just very quickly quite big.
Footscray is traditionally a very working class area, and boxing was a big part of that, of the culture, you know, like 50 years ago, even 30 years ago. You have to be disciplined and practice and all that, but you can sort of free-form it, like you improvise when you're in the ring. So you've got these kind of set pieces that you practice, but you have to make snap decisions, you know, snap creative decisions about how to move and what to do when you're actually sparring.
The aerialists, they're not really interested in how it's rigged. They're really happy to be able to rely on someone like me that they can say, well, I just can go up and then it will be fine. There is a trust there, and I think there has to be a big trust.
As a club, we place a really big emphasis on the culture that we create, and so we've got lots of new players who have come to our club over the last few years, and our ethos is that we want to be a place where they want to come, where they feel included, where they're valued, and you know, you make lifelong friends here. It's always a good time. We have a laugh, we play a sport that we love. It's a home away from home.
Never told to do circus. I think it's an amazing tool. You can do whatever you want with it. You can be as much involved or as little as you want. Now I'm not really performing anymore, but I'm taking much more classes. I think it's still very valuable to have it as a women-only space, because I also do not think there is that many around. Of course, you need to love what you do. You know, learned over the years and to relax a little bit more into it, which is good.
Being able to go out and run around with your friends and really work hard for success, there's no sport like it. I'd just recommend just get out, give it a go, and you never know where it'll take you.
We, the people of Maribyrnong, declare our commitment to a community where opportunities for success are equally available to women and men, where our mothers, daughters and sisters live free from the cycle of violence, where their thoughts, ideas and opinions are heard and respected, and their choices and goals in life celebrated and supported.